Hi, this is Kiran, and in this session, we are going to learn about a language. So, language, what is a language? So, language is a communication medium that we use to communicate with others. So, a language can be used by many people, and many people learn many languages. For example, so before that, what is a language? Language is a communication medium between two or more people. And people learn different languages like English, Hindi, Tamil, Telugu, Urdu, so etc. So many languages people use and they learn and they people communicate with one another. So here I would like to discuss about one thing. So here is a person and this person knows a language. This person knows a language. And there is one more person and he also knows a language. And let us assume that this person knows English and this person knows Tamil, suppose. Can they communicate? No, they cannot communicate because they know different languages, right? If suppose this person also knows English, then they can communicate. Or this person should know Tamil, then they can communicate. That means the two people can communicate effectively and they can do some task together when their language is same. If their language is different, they cannot communicate. So that's why language is playing a key role or an important role in the life of the human beings so that they can work together and communicate together. And even the projects can be effectively performed or work can be effectively completed and quickly completed when their language is same, because they can communicate, they can understand, they can talk together easily. All right, so this is one thing, and we also should know one more thing about. So one more thing I would like to discuss here is about programming language. So what is a programming language? So now programming language is also a communication medium, but where it is used, it is acting as a communication medium between programmer and a computer. So programmer and a computer, between a programmer and a computer. That means, suppose here is a person you, suppose you, and you need to communicate with the computer. Suppose this is what? Computer. To communicate with the computer, you should know what is the language of the computer. And the user, this is user. User also will be using a language. So what this user use to communicate with this computer is a programming language. Okay. Whatever it is, first of all, what is the language of the computer? So what is the language of the computer? Because the English letters are on the keyboard of the computer, so that's why people think it as English is a language that the computer understands. No. Then what is the language of the computer that it understands? So machine language. So machine language is the language that the computer understands, and we can also call it as a binary language. So what is a binary language? So binary language means there will be 2 digits and you'll be writing code using those 2 digits. 1, 0. So by means 2. So these numbers are written using these 2 digits. They are called binary numbers. So This is a language that the computer understands. And this is also called as machine language. 1 means on, 0 means off. Why? Because computer is an electronic device. It understands the on and off, right? That's why you can think like that. All right. So this is the language of the computer. Okay, fine. Then what is the language that a user use to communicate with the computer? In which language? To understand better that, we should look at the computer first. So I'm going to consider this compute, the term compute here. This term compute I'm considering here. Okay, compute. Compute means calculate. Compute means calculate, means performing operations or doing calculations. So the computer is the one which does the calculations. That's why this is called as a computer, because it does the calculations. How it does the calculations? It does the calculations in the binary language. It does the calculations in the binary language. Okay, in which language the user does the calculations? So user also does the calculations using some numbers. For example, here, I want to find the sum of two numbers, 12 and 10. How can we find? 12 plus 10 and then 22. So here we does the calculations in decimal numbers. So these are the decimal numbers. The 12 and 10 are decimal numbers. So we are using decimal numbers to calculate, to do this small calculation. We are using decimal numbers here. And what about computer? Computer does the calculations in binary language. How? For example, here, suppose if you give this task to the computer, how it does? First, it will convert the 12 into binary number and 10 also into binary number. And then you will get the result as a 22, and which is equivalent to this. So this is how it does the calculation. If you don't know how it get this binary number, I'll discuss that part in the another session. The conversion from decimal to binary and the calculation or the operation, which is nothing but the addition operation, how it is doing here in the binary numbers, I'll discuss in the another session. So that means here we should understand that, we can understand that if you give the work in your language, the computer has to convert into binary language, or the user has to give input in the binary language, then the computer accepts and then it will understand and then it will process it and produce the result. So that means a user can give the binary codes. If the user gives binary codes, the computer can easily process it and produces the output like this. For the 22 equivalent output it produced, right? Yes. Okay. So now what is the programming language here? So the programming language here should be a binary language. So binary language is a programming language. In the beginning, the computer scientist has used to communicate with the computer. And there are so many programming languages are available. So what are those? Those programming languages are divided into some generations. And what are those generations? I'm going to discuss in the another session. Until then, thank you.